Yeah, so last year, similar people, some friends, a lot of people that work together, artists and musicians. Thought it'd be kind of cool just to showcase talent. So we didn't really call it Arts and Grooves, but it was just an art show. And this was done at Alexander Amato's home and studio where they, Genuine Childs, produce music. So we set up his backyard and did an art show there last year. So this time we thought it'd be kind of cool to rent a spot, an actual space, to have an art show. So just doing a little research, came across this place, and we love it. We walked in and said, yes, this is it. As long as everything works out, we're sold. So one thing led to another. We booked the spot a couple months ago and immediately started promoting it, mostly through Facebook, but everybody's got friends kind of everywhere, so we did that. Also, the restaurant that I was working out with, Anthony, anyhow, part of Genuine Childs, closed down just this last year, and so we kind of had a reason to put it on, just to, we didn't have anything going on and nobody's working, so let's have an art show. I think I've got right around 40 between drawings and paintings, and then there's a wall of cardboard art, cardboard robot heads that I've been spent my last couple months on. It's weird because if you stare at it too long, you'll start to get ideas like this. They'll start to talk to you. Yeah, it's pretty. It's been interesting. So I started off always drawing since I was a kid. Luckily, my parents encouraged us, Sean and I, to do whatever we wanted, and that was excellent for us. So always drew. In high school, always excelled in art. Thought I was going to go into animation in high school and started pursuing that. And attending junior college after high school, started taking courses in animation, and then eventually got accepted into a school up in the San Jose area, in Sunnyvale, called Cogswell. Anyway, I went there for 4 years, studied character animation, got really into storyboarding and drawing more, and moved to Los Angeles about 10 years ago, and decided to try to become a studio artist full-time, which is extremely difficult. But chipping away at it, do a lot of portraiture, do a lot of weird stuff, do a lot of bizarre cartoon type things, and now I do cardboard sculpture. Still love animation. Still would like to do it, on my own terms. I'm not really anxious in working for, a studio or something, but I'd like to do it on my own time and maybe do some festivals or things. We'll see. But Arts and Grooves, at least for now, we're going to try. We'll see how this turns out, but we're going to try and do it at least once a year. Anthony and I thought it would be a good idea to do a chalk mural out in Runyon Canyon. So the other day we packed up some giant sidewalk chalk and went out and just did a huge piece. And probably were passed by, I don't know, 70, 80 people just while we were doing it. And it's been up all week, so I'm guessing there's probably been thousands of people that have seen that. So we're kind of curious to see what kind of crowd we get. Growing up, Sean did a lot of what I did. So if I was drawing, he was drawing. I don't think that he felt as much as a draw to it as I did. I think he enjoyed it, but I don't think he put much thought into it as far as a career or just anything other than just kind of doodling or doing whatever brother's doing. But he actually was into poetry for a while and did quite a bit of writing. Kind of came back to art a few years ago, and he actually helped spring me into it a little farther. I mean, he had a website before I did. He kind of was showing me the ropes, and he's been showing a lot more than I have. So he's really the big brother to me in art, anyway. So it's kind of come full circle. I'm the Obi or the Anakin to his Obi-Wan, I guess. Hopefully he doesn't chop my legs off.
Let's say I have more stuff to give the consumer, basically, like cards, greeting cards, calendars, stickers. I'm going to have, unfortunately I don't have it for this show, but I will have my first S.A.B.O Art Workshop t-shirt, which is my character's Garwin Pod. And I'm really proud of that. Garwin Potter is basically characters that I made back in 97. And originally they were based on myself and my best friend in high school. So in later years, with the pinup girls, I decided to bring them back, but I wanted to bring them back in a big way, and I actually have my first comic book sold, or it's going to be sold here at the show, and basically I brought them back and I kind of retooled their characters, retooled their look, and here they are. I mean, hopefully we'll start getting recognized by just Garwin Pod. So yeah, this is my first, this year's new Heartbreaker calendar. It took a lot, but I'm really pleased with it. Here's my first edition comic book. My comic book is called Garwin Pod, and basically it's what I post on my Facebook every week for the it's kind of like the Sunday comics in a way. So every Sunday I post a brand new strip on my Facebook, and that became the comic books. So, but anyway, yeah. But as far as the basics, Scott taught me that. Luckily, he went to school for it, and I basically stole it from him when he showed it to me. So I didn't even have to go through all those years of going to school. It was just like, hey Scott, can you help me out? Can you show me how to do it? And he was able to show me the basics, which really, in the long run, it helped out a lot, especially with my pinup girls. My pinup girls started out like it was a kind of a hobby in a way. I really, in the beginning, wanted to be a novel writer. I wanted to write books, but the thing is that between my breaks or times when I didn't want to write for a while, I would actually draw. When I drew pinup girls. This is Heartbreaker Stacy right here. So hopefully she'll sell tonight. I started with drawing Playboy bunnies. Actually, I looked into my Playboy magazine collection and started to get some ideas and draw them. And so basically, I did that. And from there, I started getting really good. And before I got like really good and start selling stuff, I thought, well, I need to name these things because I can't name them Playboy Playmates because, or Playboy Bunnies because, you know, it's already taken. So looking for a name for my pinup girls, it was actually my mom who actually named my girls, and so she called them Heartbreakers, and ever since that's basically it. And basically they're kind of based on girls that broke my heart all through childhood and through growing up. Basically, that's basically it. So I have 9 main girls who I actually made a backstory for, and this is my homage to one of my favorite 80s films, Weird Science, and hopefully it will be auctioned off tonight. As far as pinup girls, I got a whole bunch. I even lost count. I mean, I don't know, maybe 40, something like that. I wanted characters that people kind of got used to and wanted to see more, you know. So I'm basically building them up through each picture, you know, so they have detail, you know, and stuff like that. And when the time comes for my art to really blow up, you know, I would love for people to say, hey, I'm a Russia fan, or I'm a Roxy fan, or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's perfect, you know. That was the whole point of it, you know. It's kind of like my weird version of the Peanut Gang, you know. It's like they're my little ragtag team, you know. So I finally, for the first time, did my first stencils, and they're of my characters. And so basically, when the time came for me to do or bring the paintings down, I actually redid all of these paintings based on the stencils that I did. So these are my characters, Garwood and Bod, and basically, you know, they're everywhere. You know, it's I like this one. I call this the Pod Army, and it's just a whole bunch of pod faces on there. So it's pretty cool, man. I mainly draw Sharpies. Sharpies is my #1 go-to marker. It's never failed me yet, and I just love Sharpies, and I will always use Sharpies, and I give out Sharpies during my shows, and so that's basically it. The history of the show is basically Anthony and Scott and Alex wanted to do a show, and they kept, you know, talking about it, and decided to have the show at Alex's house, and we did have it, and it was for what it was a success. I was the only one that actually made money on that show because I had prints, and I had I think a few calendars, and definitely my greeting cards were a big seller. But yeah, it took off from there, and when there was time of talk about doing another one, basically it was Anthony who said, let's do it in a art gallery, and here we are. And so what I can say is it's pretty big. It's pretty big now, so I'm just happy. It's constantly growing. We have more people on this show. Matt Suarez is an awesome singer, songwriter, and we have the Haizuku Cultivating Creativity. The shirts, they're doing great, and they're selling at the show. So, hey man, if the thing that we always talk about is once the door is open, we all go. So we're all bringing each other in. So it's all good. It's all good. And I'm really happy to have my brother next to me. You know, it's always great to have Scott with me on projects. You know, so.
Do you like music?
Yes.
Why don't you put a record on?
The building we're in is set up really nice. It's an old brick building with, you know, different rooms, an outside venue, and it's just real set up for an art gig. It adds a whole other vibe to just being an art show. It makes it more artsy, actually. Incorporating music and art and, you know, food, This is a latest series of mine. They're all same size, mixed medium. I really wasn't afraid to work with color at all. In fact, some of them I painted in the dark so that I could see what the colors would look like when I turned the light on, which I thought was an interesting concept. Not necessarily off, but very dim. Allowed me to be able to just see a kind of a vibe of a color and just grab it and go for it and work with it. And turning the light on allowed me to be able to see that, you know, not fearing about, oh my god, how much color am I using here or what am I using there, allowed the freedom to just put the color on and let it speak. So I like that. I hadn't done that before. It's to show a lot of women, so I think my pieces fit in real good. Lots of different artists have images of women, so I think they fit right in. This is a series of 9 in this particular venue of mixed medium color. I brought 5 to show. One of them is sold already. It's a S.A.B.O. They're real popular in the series, and I actually just finished some of them today. So it's funny how art is a constant process, you know, even up until the day that they could be sold, and people wouldn't know the difference, or maybe they would. That always trips me out. I hope some people get the vibe and decide to come out. It's Saturday night. It's beautiful in LA. And I hope we get to do it every year. I think it's a great idea to get people together, music, art, and get people's names out there.
I just basically started in school. I was always that kid that drew all day and got in trouble for it. And then in high school, I took a couple art classes, and I think the first or second day, the teacher just told me that after the first project, she was like, "Oh, you're really talented, and from now on, you could do whatever project you want. You don't have to follow the class assignments." So I thought that was really cool, and it really, I don't know, she was probably the most influential person for me being an artist, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But now it's just taken over my life, and I've just never been happier, I guess. I like it. But yeah, after high school, I landed a job as a muralist for a school district, and I worked there for about 2 years. And at that just really made most of my artwork grow, like, intensely. It's just painting large scales of little paintings that I used to do. You could just put a lot more detail, and you start working with different mediums and spray painting. Now I work at Michael's as a framer, and so just working at that job is just really good for me being an artist, because I bounce off ideas from everything that I look into that store. It's just I don't know, I learned something new about crazy arts and all kinds of paints and mediums and different kind of things that you can use. And now I'm starting to incorporate LED lights into some of my pieces, and I'm getting more advanced at framing, because being a framer, I learned so much about color theory, and just framing my artwork in general has increased immensely. Now I'm mixing watercolors, and then I'm doing base coats of acrylic with acrylic glazes, and then I'm throwing actually oils on top of it. It is more time consuming, but I sit there and I stare at the painting, and you could blend with the wet paint for days on end, and I just keep on messing with it. It creates a more realistic feel towards most of my pieces. Now with oils, it's just like opening a whole new world. I'm pretty stoked about that, and then I'm working on, I just got into making my first resin toy. I'm actually getting into sculpting all my monsters, because in my cartoon I actually want it to be a claymation animated cartoon, kind of like The Nightmare Before Christmas kind of claymation. but it's going to be more of a Alice in Wonderland kind of esque storyline, and there's just going to be some wild characters that no one has ever even seen before. And I was never trained on how to paint, so what I used to do is I would just look up YouTube videos of speed painting of some of my favorite artists, and I could get to the point where I could even see what kind of brush they use and their different techniques. And I feel like most of my pieces before were a little bit too clean, and I try to loosen up more with my more recent work, and I do a lot more drips. I try to feel the painting out, and I notice that the more you feel it, the more dramatic the painting kind of starts to get. And some paintings that I have, some of my larger pieces, I have over this one piece in actually in this gallery, I have over 65 hours of painting on this one piece alone, and I couldn't stop touching it, and it just never was finishing. I just add a new monster like every couple of days, and I just got crazier and crazier. And now that when I take people over to my room, because my room has all my paintings and it's kind of a little art gallery, but they always look at that piece and they're like, I don't even know where to begin on this piece. It's crazy. And I don't know, I was probably the loosest on that piece too, which I didn't really care what other people thought. It's more of a exercise in how far I can take it and see if I can ever reach that finish line. And I finally did, and it's one of my favorite pieces probably.
Basically, they started out with bubbles, and one day I just was like, oh, they should just be a character, and I just started changing them to whales, and there's a little squid there. And the whole premise of this painting is actually really hard to see, but it's basically an octopus tentacle ice cream man, and here's one of his tentacles, and here's the cone, and on the back of his little hat or whatever is just these melts, and they're all just different flavors of ice cream. And right here, he's actually pulling one of them out and to fill it into this cone. And here's just a really close-up shot of a triple scoop ice cream cone with like drizzled chocolate on the top, and yeah, just tentacles everywhere. And it's just, this painting, I didn't really focus too much on real lighting and what you're supposed to do, basically. And I just felt more loose about it, and I started getting more drips, and I started getting these really crazy different patterns of violet to deep purples, and it just got more and more intense the more I painted on it. And actually there's characters which are air balloons, and they're holding different crazy monsters in each of them. And like this one's a whale with some antlers and a little crown. And that one's a frog. There's a fox with a pirate patch on top. But yeah, that's one of my most intense pieces that I have in the show. There was just a bunch of us, and we were all just kept on bouncing ideas after ideas until we're like, oh, we should have this there, and then we should have some t-shirts and stickers and keychains and all this kinds of crazy stuff, and food and music, and it just got bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden I kind of got scared for a sec, because I was like, oh man, I have to finish a ton of pieces in like 3 or 4 weeks. And I mean, I did finish a ton of them, but I have a few larger pieces that I couldn't find the finish line. But yeah, we just sat down and bounced ideas off each other, and then it was just crackdown time for each of us, and try to pump out as much as we can, because this was one of the first galleries that I've been to where there was no limit on what I could bring or how much or censorship, you know, stuff like that. It's just
Free Game, which is my favorite kind of art show. This one right here is one of the first paintings where I made an accidental monster. I was just painting a vulture, and this is actually for an album cover I did for a friend. But I was just painting this vulture, and basically what happened was I started getting into the guts and all of this, like it's actually like a dead carcass of a person, and he's just eating his flesh. And all of a sudden, I made it into a circle, and I kept on adding elements of mushrooms on the side and a couple of ghosts up here. But the whole thing as a whole, it actually is a vampire whale. These are his eyes, and it's actually crying with that one teardrop right here. And those are his little teeth, his little vampire teeth. And then, and then here's his fin, and it comes back to his back fin there. And then I made an accidental owl right here. I was just doing like steampunk, crazy gadgets and gizmos that, I don't know, make sense in my mind. Yeah. But all of a sudden it turned the vulture into an owl, where this is its beak, and here is one of his feet is steampunk, and then he's using the vulture's hand as a foot as well. But just a really cool. Yeah, just a couple accidents basically, which it's a huge breakthrough because I finally found how to do it, where I see what it looks like at first, and then I just cork it like by just a little line here and there, and then all of a sudden it makes this monster that I already basically painted just appear out of nowhere, and it just blows my mind whenever that happens because I didn't plan it.
It's just fun to have this many good, creative, talented people in a very positive way come together and present very different styles of art, like from music to everything else going on, t-shirts to paintings and things. How it all correlates together and works, in a really productive, progressive way. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. Especially because there's you realize that there's other minds out there, that are thinking on the same wavelength, just in their own way, So minds like that get together, like a lot of good things happen, especially with good people. When the art comes from a good place, it's an expression, but it also comes from somewhere, It's not just an empty feeling, left in the void. It's expressed in the music and in the graffiti and the t-shirts, especially through the music, the spoken music. That's, that's at least how I feel, the culmination of all this. Things,
The trials and experiences and things like that kind of come together, and it's fun to share that with everybody else while they're sharing their own. It's very progressive, and I think that's the one common factor that we all have. Everybody that's here, we're all thinkers on some level in different ways, and I think everybody is very progressive in trying to spread that to good vibes to other good people. It kind of works out,
All we ever talk about is giving all we can for love. And all we ever dream about is giving all we can for love. All we ever talk about is love, love, love.
It's fun. I mean, the last 3 years we've both been on separate paths, and I think that time away really helped with the writing for a lot of the new songs that we're going to be performing tonight and stuff. And it's fun to kind of blend those two were two totally different paths, I think. But I guess
it's also fun to hear. Like, I didn't know that Shepherd Ferry was gonna have some art here too. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And then to hear it's Ernesto's art too. You know, like,
right.
Dude, I was learning about these guys in high school, dude. Like, seeing their art, and, like, dude, that's badass. How do you get there? You know, starting from the other side of the country and just it amasses to that much creativity. You know, and his art's being exhibited tonight. You know, like, it's the culmination, dude. Like,
yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man.
When we're all bound by the same cause, well, if there's gonna be a fire, I'll make it for unity, say unity between you and I.
Yeah, Albert and I have been playing music together for about 9.5 years. We've been, close friends for.
I've been saying like 12, dude.
Well, we've been friends for like almost 13, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it just kind of works out,
track,
right? Who's keeping track, But
yeah, we've been playing music for a long time. Junior college, we started there, and just kind of evolved into its own creature, and slowly digesting us. That's
right.
So eventually.
Y'all can clap if you want. Sometimes it makes us feel a little weird just to have people staring at us and not participate a little bit.
One of my roommates when I was living in San Luis Obispo, in probably the first year and a half I lived there, that's Sean of S.A.B.O over here, and his brother Scott. And Scott's from here, but Sean lived there, and they decided to put on this art show last year, and I helped out with it and things like that, catering and putting it together, setting up, tearing down, and we all just became friends, and just kept in contact, and now here's the second year, and hopefully it's it's every year from here on out.
And all we ever dream about is giving all we can to love.
Nobody here has heard the songs that we're going to perform, except for at soundcheck maybe a few, things like that. But yeah, there's 2 new CDs that we're letting out tonight, and hopefully it all works out the way we planned.
All we ever talk about is giving all we can to love. Dream about is giving all we can for love. Right now, over my sound. Used to step up my passion. Girl, you so sexy. Oh my God, you so nasty. Oh, baby,
So I met up with Ricky Dippner. We went to him, my sister and him went to school together, same grade, and then his younger siblings and I went to school together. So we've known each other for a lifetime. And then when he came back for the cystic fibrosis walk in October, we met up and we had talked about Izoku and just literally cultivating creativity. And I was just completely like, I'm in, whatever it is, I'm in. You want to go with creativity, that's me. Whether it's any medium, whether it's, a piece of paper, art, sketching, painting, music, I'm all over it. So he gave me the shot and the opportunity, so I just wanted to thank, Allah Izoku for letting me be here. And, just keeping together family friends, for over a decade. It's rough, especially these days, keeping in touch with who you need to keep in touch with, and just the right connections, because, he brought me here in my first live show, and from what I hear, everybody liked it, so hopefully we'll have many more.
know, I've watched my friends set up, do their album, do their stuff, but never myself got on stage and performed solo. So I guess no stage fright there. I've been freestyling for years, and I just finally decided to hit the record button, see where it takes me, you know, network with who I need to network with and make me a better artist. And I think I found the right spot, the right group of people. So for that, I'm eternally grateful. Everything here has got a totally different sound. It's not, it doesn't fit in its own little stereotypical box. You know, like, you can't like completely put me in a hip hop box, you know, or a rap box, because to me, freestyling is the purest form of hip hop. And that last song I did, there's nothing written. I just did the whole thing freestyle. And I just went from top to bottom, and I was looking around the walls for inspiration, and I was picking apart paintings and you know, you run it back and you listen to the lyrics, talk about Haizoku, you know, meeting up with Ricky, and then just, you know, creativity, just throwing everything in there. Just little pieces of salt to make it add to the flavor, and it helps. And it just shows people that, you know, you don't need to write, and you don't need to sit there and diagnose everything that you've written to make a good song. You just need to put your heart into it, or your energy into it, and hopefully you're happy with what comes out. You know, kind of the same thing with art. When you're sitting there and you're putting with easel, or with a pen, or marker, whatever it is, you know, you just put your heart into it, and you know something great's going to come out.
For me, music is integrity and honesty. Traits that are missed inside of our current society. And for me, my introduction to music has been so long and so fostered in such great places. And at a young age, it started in the churches with my mother. And we used to sing the amazing hymns to Jesus and stuff like that. And as times passed, I began to see that it wasn't so much who we sang to, but it was how we sang. The moments that we shared with each other, cherishing true honesty, true openness, things that I believe sometimes our species, whether it be a man or woman, have such a hard time with dealing with, but that's where music and art talk to us on a level that takes away from who we are as humans and really just connects us to what we are as energy. And that's why I committed my life to music. It's been over 12 years, and many say, would you do it different? And my answer is always no. I would never change a thing, because in all the hard moments and in all the wondering if I'm going to pay my rent or if I'm going to pay my gas bill, is my electricity getting shut off, I could pick up that guitar, and the notes would speak to me in such a way that I would never want to look back, no matter where it put you, no matter what it did to you. And I'm sure you know that as much, anybody watching this, that we all feel that way. There's something that speaks to us on a level that is deeper than who we are. And nights where we get together and we share on such honest levels with each other, it secures the bond that connects the human species. And the honesty that lays inside of music is one that, for me, speaks on every level of existence. So me and my band, just a few years ago, we left Detroit, Michigan, sold everything we owned, bought a 32-year-old RV, and we set out onto the road looking for adventure. looking for the things we had never found before or seen before. And in that, we ended up in Galveston, Texas, in the middle of Hurricane Ike, cleaning up garbage, and we ended up working on animal rescue farms and hiking through the heartland of our country, seeing things that I'd only seen on documentaries, only things brought to me by National Geographic, but then, before I know it, my own 2 eyes, my 2 feet, walked on the land and embarked in a journey which is nowhere near its end, to say the least. It took 6 months, and 6 months to the date of leaving out of Detroit, Michigan, we pulled into Huntington Beach, California. Me, JJ Jackson, and Tim Kais. And we made our way up the coast to San Luis Obispo, California. And we pulled into a Home Depot parking lot with $2 to our name between 3 people. And it's been over 2 years now since that moment, and there's 6 people in our band now instead of 3. We've done over 120 shows since coming into SLO, and we met the wonderful artists that are sharing this evening with you tonight. Alister Dippner, and Sean Alexander, Richard Robert Dippner, one of my truest and dearest friends. And it's amazing to see the progression of what happens when people with honest and intense integrity enter into business relationships together and form things that end up beyond oneself, and it becomes a true honor. And so for all the people that were here tonight at Art Grooves, Matt Suarez and the Movement, love you guys, and all the artists, and the camera crews, and the DJs, we just want to I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much, because as you share, and as everybody else shares, we start to build a bridge, long broken, and we can reconnect our species. And it's through art and honesty and love that we reconnect the broken bands. So just much love. Thank you for being here tonight, and keep it up. You are the power. You are the key that opens the door to a new day. Remember that always.